Hi, 10th literature students. So today, unfortunately, I forgot to press record during class while we were reading the text. A lot of you guys showed up for the Socratic seminar and you were there for the reading of Julius Caesar. But in case you weren't, I wanted to kind of break down what happened. We only got, I think, about 2 or 3 pages read, so you didn't miss much. But this is the most important scene from the entire, play. So I want to go ahead and kind of explain what happened. If you will read so I will give you the line numbers. If you will read Act 3, Scene 1, lines um, 1 through I guess about 78. That's where we got to today. So we only read about 78 lines, so not that much. But I want to go ahead and explain what happened. So basically, Caesar here is going to the Capitol. It is the Ides of March. Okay, so this is the day that the conspirators have planned to murder him. We know from the last act that Artemidorus clearly has this letter which lists all the conspirators, names them all, and basically, if Caesar reads it, we know that he's going to be fine. However, Caesar calls this man mad. Okay, so Artemidorus comes up and says, "Here, I've got this for you." And Caesar says, "What is this fellow mad?" So he calls Artemidorus mad. He sort of pushes him aside and says, "I'm not going to read that. I have no idea what you're doing." So this is Caesar's final warning, and he does disregard it. So his fate is kind of sealed at this point, and we continue to read on. So basically, at this moment, Cassius thinks that Publius knows about the plot. Okay. So basically, Cassius is talking to Brutus, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, Publius is about to tell Julius Caesar about our assassination attempt." Cassius starts to freak out. He essentially says, "I am going to kill myself if this is true that Publius is telling Caesar our full assassination plan." Brutus, however, instead of being paranoid like Cassius is, Brutus is very calm. Okay, he says, "No, it's fine. Publius Lena doesn't speak of our purposes." Okay, it says that, "For look, he smiles, and Caesar doth not change." So yeah, I mean, he's Caesar, if he was being told about his death, obviously his face would change, right? So the fact that he hasn't, Publius isn't revealing our purpose. So in class, we talked about how this reveals that Brutus is sort of dealing with the notion of killing Caesar in a very calm and rational way, where Cassius is sort of losing it right now. He's paranoid, he doesn't know who to trust, and he's very concerned that it may not end up happening. So basically, in this next section, Metellus Cimber is a very important character. He asks Caesar for something very specific, which we talked about in class. He says, he basically wants to ask Great Caesar for the repealing of my banished brother. We talked about in class how what that means is his brother has basically been banished from Rome, so he is forbidden to enter the city of Rome. And Metellus Cimber is coming to Caesar and saying, "Will you please take pity on me? I know it's just me, I'm a lowly person, but essentially, will you let my brother come back? Since you're going to be dictator, you're going to be in charge, just please let my brother be unbanished." We don't know what his brother did to deserve to be banished. There were some students that said, well, it depends on what he did to deserve to be banished, whether he should come back or not. But again, we don't have that information. What we do here is Caesar says, "I am as constant as the northern star." We talked about how that's a simile because it's a comparison using like or as. And then he basically explains that I am constant in my decisions. And he has been banished, so he is going to remain banished. I will not change my mind. We talked about in class about how the northern star is that one star in the sky that never moves. If you are lost at sea, you can find the northern star, you can find your way home because it's always true north. So he essentially says, "I won't change my mind, I won't unbanish your brother," and that's that. And then the conspirators get all angry because of the fact that he said that. Caesar proclaims his magnificence and indestructibility here. He compares himself to Olympus, who's a great god. So it's kind of ironic here that he is talking about his greatness and how awesome Caesar is, right? He's saying that about himself. And then this is the moment essentially where he is stabbed and killed, okay? The last thing that we talked about was Caesar's final lines. So Casca is the one who essentially stabs him first, then other conspirators. and Brutus stabs him last. And so Caesar's final words are "Et tu, Brute, then fall Caesar." So in this response, he's saying, "And you also," right? Basically, he's saying, "How could you?" Caesar did not suspect Brutus, and I'm getting chill bumps right now just talking about it. He did not expect Brutus to be in on the conspiracy. He honestly thought that Brutus was a loyal friend. This was somebody that he was fairly close to. And so basically Caesar is speaking of the betrayal here. Like, how could you be a part of this conspiracy? And you also, Brutus, right? So he's expressing his shock that Brutus was one of the conspirators as well. And so that's kind of where we left it off today. I will make sure I press record tomorrow so that you guys don't miss anything else from the play. I wanted to make sure that I explained the scene for my online students and the students who couldn't be here today to read with us, because this is such an important scene. Obviously, this is what everything in the play has been leading up to. So now, now we're basically going to be seeing what the fallout of this is. So who is going to take the power of Rome? Like, who's going to take over? Of course, they've got to be worried about the people, right? How are the people going to react to the assassination of Caesar? Because a lot of them wanted him to become king. So we'll see how all of that plays out. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully that makes sense. And I apologize again that I did not press record. I'll make sure I do that tomorrow. And we will, in block 2, we will kind of read a little bit further in this scene and see how all the rest of the play develops. All right, guys, thanks. Take care. Bye.